What's going on, everyone? This is Jags Central and I hope you're all doing well. Week 1, what do you ask for? You asked for a 1-0 start, and that is what we got. The Jags went into Everbank Stadium, they handled their business and they beat the Carolina Panthers 26-10. The Liam Coen era is 1-0. Now, was it a perfect game? I don't think it was a perfect game. Was it the top dominant performance? I think it was. It was a fantastic way to start the season, and I'm going to break this down all for you. So let's just get straight into it. Before I go quarter by quarter, I kind of wanted to hit on like the 3 big picture takeaways for me from this game. I'm going to try to do my breakdowns of the games this season by just doing big picture takeaways, go through it quarter by quarter, and then we'll kind of go through what's next for the Jags, essentially basically going into next week. So the first thing I kind of want to talk about is the defense. It looks legit. So last season, the Jags were, I think, 31st ranked defense in the league. But today, or not today, but yesterday, they looked really, really legit. And I mean, they looked really good. Like, they forced 3 turnovers today. Last season, in 17 games, they only had a total of 8. So we got 3 this game, and that is almost half of what we got last season. And NFLUK one, a monster, absolute monster, and I'll get to him later, but this was a statement from the entire defensive unit. The second thing, the ground game and the O-line. That's another thing that struggled last season. The O-line was what struggled last season. Travis Etienne, welcome back. He looked his explosive self from 2 seasons ago. He had a 71-yard run. He finished the season with He finished the game with 148 yards on the ground. But it's just, what's just important is that it feels like the first time in forever that the offensive line gave up 0 sacks, and Trevor Lawrence was kept clean all day. And that also helped give Trevor Lawrence time to throw the ball. They opened up huge lanes for the run game. It's just a massive, massive improvement there on the O-line. So hopefully this kind of carries on into next week and also carries on into the rest of the season. The third thing is kind of a negative thing, the penalties. Last season, and I even think the season before that, penalties was such a huge thing for the Jags. Like on offense especially, we had 11 accepted penalties for 93 yards. It stalled the first drive. And it popped up again in the third quarter. I feel like that was the only main stain on the day. But otherwise, it was a great day. But this is something that the team definitely has to clean up. Like the penalties last season killed us the season before. But I think that's something that we need to definitely clean up going into next week and into the rest of the season as well. So let's just quickly run through how the game unfolded. In the first quarter, it was a little sloppy. The Jags came out, 13-play opening drive, so you can tell. Liam Coen came in, scripted those plays, but it stalled out in the red zone thanks to penalties. And then we kind of had to settle for a Cam Little field goal. So the Carolina Panthers were down 3-0, and then they ended up going on a drive themselves, and they got a field goal themselves. So we ended the first quarter 3-3. The second quarter is where the Jags just blew the door off the game. This is where the defense just started to step up. Eric Murray deflected a pass. NFLUK one comes flying in for a diving interception. What an interception. And then from there, the offense cashes in for a touchdown to Hunter Long. And then just after then, that's when we get the weather delay. The game was gone for about an hour or so. The Jags came out on fire. Travis Etienne breaks loose for a 71-yard run. That sets up a Brian Thomas Jr. touchdown rush. And if it wasn't enough, NFLUK one forces another turnover, punching the ball out of Bryce Young's hands. The Jags recover and get another field goal right before half. Just like that, it's 20-3 at half time. Total domination. One thing I kind of wanted to talk about is last season as well. One thing that we had an issue with is whenever we did get turnovers, we never turned them into points. There's quite a few times where we'd get a turnover maybe on the 50-yard line and we wouldn't even get a field goal out of it. Whereas we would turn over the ball and our opponents will get 3 points, 7 points, they'll get points on the board. So something that I kind of like today is that we turn those turnovers into points. And especially that's where you're going to win games. Like, even if you win the turnover battle, doesn't mean you can win the game, because you have to turn those turnovers into points as well. So let's just go into the third quarter. The offense in the third quarter kind of went to sleep. There were penalties. Trevor Lawrence threw an interception on an underthrown ball. But this is where the new look defense really shined. They absolutely stood on their heads, forcing a huge turnover on downs inside their own 10-yard line. And then that kept the Panthers scoreless for that quarter. Had the Panthers ended up converting, the game would have been 20-10, and it would have been a bit difficult going into the fourth, but it was fine. I felt like going into the fourth, I kind of felt comfortable. And to be honest, the Jags in the fourth quarter kind of just professionally closed out the game. They put together a long drive to get another field goal, making it 23-3. The Panthers did get one late touchdown on a missed tackle, but the Jags recovered the onside kick, milked the clock out for another field goal, and then Jordan Lewis put the final nail in the coffin with an interception to seal the 26-10 win. One quick note of concern from the fourth quarter was that right tackle Anton Harrison went down with a back injury late, so his status is currently something that we need to monitor. So, what does this mean moving forward? I kind of have three big questions coming out of this game, and it kind of related to how I kind of started this video. Number one, can the team clean up the miscues, which is the penalties? We had 11 penalties in the game. Against a better team, especially next week against the Cincinnati Bengals, they've got a really good defense, or really good pass rush with Trey Hendrickson. So if we're going into games where we're turning first downs into first and 20s, we're turning second downs and second and 20s, that's going to give Trey Hendrickson, who got the most sacks last season, more chance to get to Trevor Lawrence and basically fizzle out the offense. So I really think that the priority going into this week's practice is definitely we got to clean up the penalties. Number two, is this defensive turnover machine for real? We forced 3 turnovers, which was incredible. One looked great. Jordan Lewis was everywhere. Like, that is a big pick up for us from free agency. Like, one thing that I talked about in the offseason is that the Jags didn't go for big splash free agents. They went for ones that kind of can fill out the roster and basically raise the ceiling of the team. And we really did that with Jordan Lewis. Like, seeing him on that floor flying around was just amazing. So I definitely think that the Jags on defense can definitely raise the ceiling even more. We didn't really see much from Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen, but I definitely think, like, going into next week, we definitely need them to get to Joe Burrow. And number 3, can we tighten up on the tackling? I think this was kind of the smallest thing. I kind of had to find a third thing to kind of look into, but I kind of feel like there was a few times there were some missed tackles, especially in the Eric Murray one that kind of led to the Panthers' only touchdown. But other than that, the run defense was solid. But definitely next week against Chase Brown, I really think that their run defense is definitely going to be something that we're going to need. But that's a wrap for week 1. A great win, but we go into the next one. We look ahead and we look forward to going 2-0. So the next game, the Jags are travelling for their first road game of the season to take on the Cincinnati Bengals. This is going to be a real test and a big step up in competition. The Bengals are always a tough opponent. We lost to them 2 years ago when they had their backup QB. I think it was Jack Browning. And if we want to see if the Jags are for real, we're going to see whether this dominant performance against the Panthers was a product of just playing the Panthers, or if the Jags teams is truly different this year. Definitely, I really think that the keys to win next week is simple. Repeat the good things, which is run the ball down their throats, let the defense hunt for turnovers, and just one thing, cut down on the penalties. But that's my breakdown. A fantastic 1-0 start to the season. What were your biggest takeaways from the game? Who's your MVP of the game? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to Jag Central for breakdowns all season long. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the Bengals preview. Duval.